Okay, so let's begin. My student ID is 100629765. I will be discussing Neon's international expansion strategy. Uh, Neon is a company selling products related to the sport of paddle, ranging from clothing to the rackets themselves, and they have an intention of expanding internationally. For now, Neo's unique selling point is the fact that they have a fully integrated supply chain ranging from the design and manufacturing of the marketing related products, such as the textiles themselves, uh, to the rackets that are sourced from external suppliers. They have full control throughout the process, which makes it very transparent. And they have a passionate and dedicated customer base that feels more of a family rather than just a transactional kind of basis relationship. The current figures. Here at the top, we can see the garments that Paolo is wearing. That's why the colors are related to the brand Neon. They are very bright, into your face, and kind of very distinct. Here on the left, we can see the graph of the offline and online sales throughout the two different quarters. And 2 represents the male population of sales, which was slightly below 25,000 in the first quarter for offline and very high for the first quarter for online. That's during COVID. And for women, it stayed pretty much similar. However, as we can see, the offline sales skyrocketed very high throughout COVID, throughout the second quarter. Therefore, that's a point to keep in mind. People who practice paddle, from this data, it turns out that it's around 40 years old, at least for the Neon brand. Nowadays, there has been a trend of younger people getting into the sport of paddle because it's very easy to start. It's like tennis, but highly simplified. So it has a lot of potential for growth, and we can see it already in the figures that are available to us on the internet. SWOT analysis of the brand. Well, first of all, the strengths. They have a full control of the production process in Spain. They have a loyal customer base, a very high quality of product with distinct features. The distinct feature meaning being the colors of the brand that are very bright, yellowish, pinkish, greenish, representing their distinct feature, and they're for people that want to stand out. Their weaknesses is a very simple and lacking marketing strategy. That's also one of the strategies that I would like to propose, which would be increasing its online marketing presence. But I'm going to move on to that later. Lack of sales training and staff. They have high cost of goods because of the high quality of products, which decreases the market penetration possibilities, because of the lack of economies of scale and having the ability to send out large products to, for example, retailers at a marketplace or other countries where the price needs to be lower because of a lower disposable income than in Spain. Opportunities. Well, they already established a brand name here in Spain, which already gives them an edge over new companies. They have a possibility of introducing new targets. Right now, they're aiming mostly for adults that like to stand out. Well, there's also a segment for kids, for example, that they could target, or other. They have a loyal customer base that feels like family. They have returning customers that like their products, like their quality, and keep on coming back. And they're in a kind of niche market that is experiencing a very large growth in popularity right now. So it might be a very prospective business opportunity. Threats. Well, they have large competitors from the tennis brands that have the infrastructure, logistics, and economies of scale of entering the paddle market with full force, as some of them already did. They have high cost of products, which could possibly go out of hand if sales go too low. So, in the Spanish market, even though it's not represented by the sales figures, the segment is women between 25 and 55 interested in fashion, like to feel as a part of a community, practice paddle in their free time, and are usually busy people with high quality and like high quality and distinct styles. Neon is placed on the left upper corner of the spectrum, which is high price, high quality. The paddle market in numbers, as we can see, Spain is in 2007 in 2019 was the largest market for paddle, and is also represented on the right. However, Argentina is largely following, and is going to be one of the countries of interest for the expansion of choice. Um, the market selection of the EU countries was as following: paddleboards were assigned a higher weight because of the fact that it's more important to have the infrastructure for a brand like Neon to work around with rather than the paddle players themselves, because of the prospects for growth. The clear winner here is Portugal, and right behind is Belgium with 378 courts. However, for further investigation, I added different financial comparison. Also, using Hirsch's method, I decided to compare the GDP growth, the GNI per capita, the LPI, and the ease of doing business rank of these set countries. And from this financial analysis, I found out, because of the logistic performance index and the disposable income, as well as the higher GNI per capita, that Belgium would be the better choice. This also pans out and is further confirmed from the Hofstadter country comparison, because of the high power, distance, and individualism, which is represented by the brand values of the company. For the market selection of the non-EU countries, I opted for Egypt, Mexico, Argentina, and Switzerland. At first glance, the first two clear favorites is Mexico and Argentina, with the same language and already a set up infrastructure. However, the disposable income per capita is highly worrying uh, at first glance. However, compared to the general population, it is not that worrying. Using the financial comparison, these both two countries have a negative GDP growth, and Argentina has a higher GDP. It has a slightly lower GNI per capita. However, it also has a large amount of people and bigger families. That's probably the reason. It has a higher logistic performance index and is higher on the ease of doing business rank. Um and in the Hofstadter country comparison, Argentina is the highest on the uncertainty avoidance spectrum, which is not the best for our brand. However, considering all the cultural heritage of one of the owners being from Argentina, as well as the language barrier, the already set up contacts, amongst other factors, I decided to opt for Argentina and compare it to the Spanish market, again using Hofstadter. As we can see, all the numbers are extremely similar. Obviously, the Argentinian market is way lower than Spain's, and however, it's also due to the COVID pandemic that the financials look as following, and now that the economy is looking to make a steady recovery, the prospects are very bright. For this, I used the ANSOF matrix to propose four different strategies. First one being market penetration. That would be using existing products in existing markets, which would be decrease slightly the product of current products, increase highly its online pleasures, and utilize larger influencers from the tennis and paddle world, which would possibly increase the reach of its customer base by slightly reducing the price from more premium to more regular. Product development would be forming a strategic alliances with, for example, a setup company in Argentina. Develop a style consulting service, which would be something totally different, a personal shopper kind of experience, however, online and in store, or sports or small paddle tournaments in order to create a more recognizable brand name. The next one would be diversification. The only diversification I see feasible in Neon's case would be acquiring a smaller paddle band with already set up infrastructure for a good deal in order to uh, save themselves the hassle of setting everything up in a foreign country. And market development would be introducing a new collection, for example, a collection for the kids, which I think would be very attractive with the color coding of Neo's brand and what they represent. And by concluding, the final chance of the expansion would be Argentina. It's a large and already existing market with a set up infrastructure. It lacks in the premium textile products and are said to be a niche market. However, there is a large customer base of Argentinians that do have money to spend a premium price on a paddle product, and especially in a sport like paddle, which is a business sport, people mostly play it for fun. I think Neon would fit in very well into the market. It has large. It has. Uh, I would propose a mostly online approach with flagship stores in certain larger cities, as well as it's a very important factor of the language barrier and very similar cultural virtues to Spain, as well as some people might already recognize the brand from Spain, depending on because there's a lot of migration between the two countries. Thank you for listening.